Today I want to get into a Sasaeng incident with NCT and how big this turned into. I want to get into V's alleged CELINE event invite and what happened there, and then we need to talk about V issuing an apology. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave, just a hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Go grab your dumpling, taste spling milk merch, and let's go. If you are not aware of what happened, well, NCT is a huge group and there's an issue involving Jaehyun. Of course, he didn't do anything wrong, but in K-pop, you don't ever actually have to do anything wrong for something bad to happen. It's apparent that Jaehyun has recently been very severely stalked by someone and it's gotten out of control. And you know that you're crossing a huge line when a celebrity is being fed up over your stalking. Celebrities are aware that everywhere they go, someone is going to stop them for a photo, or they'll see the same faces at concerts and other events. And a lot of celebrities are even aware that they'll see fans outside of their hotel and apartments, a lot of which, if you did those things to a non-celebrity, you would have been in jail a long time ago. So to get complaints from stalking from a celebrity, you have to really have crossed a line. So what type of Sasaeng stalker action is taking place? Well, this stalker took a video and posted it where it showed the interior of the hotel room that Jaehyun was staying in. The key card was initially illegally taken, so the stalker let themselves in the room to get that video. Initially, people were mad and others tried to ration it by thinking that maybe this was a staff or not what they're thinking. However, it was then allegedly confirmed by SM that this was illegal and seriously violated Jaehyun's privacy. And this is of course really bad, but even worse for K-pop idols as they cannot talk about it. That's left to the company because if the idols themselves address it, the issue gets bigger and somehow creates more stalkers. And then also people will literally connect it to Jaehyun not being grateful for his fame and fans, which is something that a lot of celebrities in America, when they address stalking, they don't receive any of those types of backlash online. Anyway, SM reported that this seriously violated the artist's privacy and they will be going through legal firms to track the stalker down and pursue legal action. This is good for the fans to know that someone like this is being looked into, not only for the safety of Jaehyun, but for any artist within K-pop, because just as fast and intense as the Sasaengs become obsessed with one idol, they just as quickly moved on to another, and that can be someone from a different group. Now, you think that in 2023, tracking someone down is much easier. However, these laws are still not where they need to be, and I wish someone would do something about this, because if you see a death threat online, it's not as easy as you think to call the police and then they just backtrack the IP address to the person who wrote this. People use VPNs, people use computers at libraries, and just so many different things that it screws where they're actually located. For those who are mean and dumb, they sometimes do get caught, and so we have cases where allegedly a label will sue or take legal action on a 12-year-old, which by the way is not fact. We don't know if it's 100% true, but it's rumored. And honestly, if 12-year-olds are leaving death threats, they need to go to jail or their parents need to be responsible, because a 12-year-old should not be that angry at a celebrity they don't know. I'm not a trained psychologist, but it's a sign that the kid feels like this is the only outlet, like writing hate comments, in which the kid feels in control of their life. And the kid needs to be in therapy if that's the case. Stalkers are definitely a huge deal in K-pop, but I also see the negative repercussions about talking about them so openly, because then the fandom gets so sensitive about it and anything is a Sasaeng. A person posting 50 tweets about their favorite idol is considered Sasaeng behavior. And if you're active within the fandom, you've probably seen people accuse others of such things when they're just showing support. I've even seen people who repeatedly asked Taehyung from BTS where his solo album is, and this is considered stalker behavior, apparently. This is not, and I think we should be expecting and excited for the album. If Taehyung went his entire career and no one asked him for an album, I would only imagine how tough and sad he would feel that no one cares about getting his music. So he's happy about that. Recently, Taehyung did an interview for the magazine W Korea, and he was asked a question about his Achilles heel. If you're unaware, Achilles heel is an idiom to reference what he is lacking or what his vulnerabilities are. And it's interesting to hear it from him as opposed to maybe a producer working with Taehyung. Might have a different answer. Taehyung answered that he feels like his rhythm is his weakness and that he takes too long to get things done. Specifically, he talked about his solo album and how it was supposed to be produced and done by December of 2022, but it's coming out in the later half of 2023. The fandom erupted to say that they don't need an apology and believe that it's okay to work on your own speed. And I agree, it's better to be late and have it be good than rush it. However, there's two reasons I think he said this, because people like to get angry when Taehyung apologizes for anything to say that he doesn't need to apologize. Well, Taehyung likely said this because this was something that fandoms already knew and was patiently waiting for. So a lot of people already think he took a long time and this was just something not too personal that he could say during an interview. Another reason that he said this was because it really did take a long time, and he was probably frustrated why he couldn't find the right songs for him. For an artist that big, they work with as many producers as possible to create the album. The artist usually lets all the producers they intend to work with aware that they're working on a new album. They even let the press know, and suddenly the label gets an influx of messages from people who want to work with the artist. So after the artist hears the song or the management hears it, they decide whether they like it, like the message, and then decide to go ahead and record it if they do. Once it's recorded and produced, it goes through another filter to see if it matches the album and then can get released once higher management of the label agrees. So a producer getting on an album is a miracle because it goes through so many people, and I'm sure in Taehyung's case it was more so him not being super satisfied with everything. And you might think it's hard to invest lots of money, time, and energy into making a song just to delete it, but it actually is not, because once you put all that effort and you still don't like it, it's almost a relief to just delete it and never go back to it and be like, I don't have to work on this thing anymore and be free from it. It's very exciting, and I'm sure Taehyung is so busy lately. I can't even imagine how things must be for him. He has to do a lot of the ambassador and celebrity stuff that he was doing before the album, and then also still work on the promotion of the album. So once the song drops, he will have to do performances and rehearsals for them. And this is on top of his already busy schedule on several red carpets. Many news sites appear at the airport recently to see Taehyung off to Japan. People were wondering what he was doing in Japan, and then it was rumored that Taehyung would be appearing at a CELINE event at one of their stores in Japan. This I don't think was ever even confirmed or any direct sources, but it was just rumored, so there ended up being a huge line outside of the event. It was believed that most people there were there to see Taehyung, but I personally think there was a mix of people trying to get into the event and then a mix of people who were there for Taehyung. Now, I don't know if this was a private event, modeling event, or if it was an event like the store opening or something, but there definitely, to me, seemed like there were people who were there just for CELINE rather than to see Taehyung. Many people were very concerned over the huge crowd that was there, and as I said, most people thought that the crowd was entirely there for Taehyung. So there being what appears to be hundreds of people outside made it scary for armies to think that there are stalkers and bad people waiting in the crowd, since this was also never formally announced. The only people that would even be aware and show up are people who were watching Taehyung media and news like a hawk, which a few of those people would be stalkers. Not all, because obviously I also watched Taehyung news like a hawk. And I think people thought that Taehyung would be there because he was flying to Japan and he is the ambassador of CELINE, so why wouldn't he show up to a CELINE event in Japan? But it was later believed that a staff member came out of the store to tell everyone to disperse because Taehyung was actually not going to show up, or had no plans to. I also think if Taehyung saw the crowd there, given it was never formally announced, he might just have chosen to not show up due to his safety. People think in these situations, Taehyung could get hit, and thus it would have been best to just cancel an appearance if there were plans made to make an appearance. But it's interesting because he could still show up, just maybe not on the first day, and wait until it's a moment that is more quiet, because they could just be trying to get photos and media of him at the store and they don't want this to be a public thing. Who knows? But I really don't think people should be outside waiting. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for those lovely comments right here. Love you. Bye.